Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm Tierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood and Karma J, just depending on the day. Honey, let me tell you, I just got to be honest with y'all. First of all, we are back from hiatus, so we are so excited to be back. I was at the Power Her conference in Miami, and then we went on to the Bahamas and did a cruise. I have been out of sync with you all for the last 10 days. And so today is wild, y'all. My computer is not working and I can't get no videos for us to talk about the prom and private jet. So I think I'm going to hold off and do that show for tomorrow. I just thought it would be maybe just for us to talk about like I thought it would be great for us to just kind of talk about current events and talk about some of the things that are happening. Of course, I have my good home girl, fellow journalist in the house, filmmaker, producer. So I think this is the perfect person to actually go rogue with. Marlo Layson. What's up, friend? How are you?
Hey, yes, we going rogue today, y'all.
We are going rogue, y'all. We ain't gonna be able to do it. Like I don't even know how to. Listen. So we're gonna save because
We
I
live.
really think it's a good topic. Also, I got cats, and they are now that
You
I'm
do have
live. I got new cats.
you
Listen,
do.
I've
You
never
got a lot
ever
going.
ever ever had a pet in my adult life.
Never met
And
nobody that go to do an event, go to the Bahamas, and then come back with cats. I never heard of that before.
I know. This is Ivory.
Oh,
Hey,
hey,
girl. This is new because I bought them for Lauren, but I think they're gonna end up being for me. Okay, girl, guy. Oh
she like
boy.
put me down.
Like, all right. So yeah, I got Ebony. Ebony is somewhere in Ivory. Y'all pray my strength in this new cat mom adventure. So while I was in Miami, I was able to see Michael, right? I'll just say that we were able to see the movie I think right before it came out. They were doing like a um pre-screening thing. Did you get a chance to see Michael?
Of course, I did a pre-screening too. I bought the early advance, like the day before ticket. So yeah, I saw it.
Okay. Okay. Wow, this is really a thing. They really are climbing in my lap. I didn't think this was gonna happen. All right, so
You got cats, and I'm sitting here rubbing a dog so he could be quiet. So we just got a lot going on right now. I know you see my arm moving. I'm just sitting
I
here.
don't see your arm moving actually, but the cat just, Ivory just came and was like, I feel like being in your lap. Um, Mind you, this has not been the situation all day, all morning. So I don't know why we go live and now it's this.
She's like, I want to go live.
Um, but I was able to see Michael. Let's start there. I want to know in the chat, what's up, everybody in the chat? Good
Hey
morning. Good
y'all.
morning. It's so good to see you guys here. I want to know if you've seen Michael. I want to start with Michael. I was able to see the movie. What was your thought about the movie first and foremost?
It as a I okay, so I was the child that had every Michael Jackson thing. I had mirror, I had gloves, I had jacket, I had every poster, pink shirt, yellow shirt. I would sit for hours reading the inserts. So this probably is not the right question for me because obviously I'm not objective. But
Mm,
I thought it was great, and I'm always critical of performers that do Michael Jackson, and his nephew killed it. So I
killed
left
it.
satisfied. I left very satisfied.
Killed it. When I say killed it. I couldn't believe
There was sometimes I
Jafar.
felt like I was watching a documentary.
It's a fact, right? I think that was the point for you to feel like that. I like the approach. I like that it was feel good. As a story girl, of course, I was like, I could see, obviously you guys know that Rotten Tomatoes and whatever else here in Hollywood gave them a 2 or a 1, and there was
Yeah,
all of these things about how they didn't really dive into story. And so for that, I understood. I was like, okay, we touched the surface of things,
yeah,
but I kind of love that they didn't go much into like abuse and all of the things, allegations and accusations and all the things. What do you think about that, Marlo?
well,
How
you
did you feel
know,
about that?
well, first of all, the Lionsgate and Antoine Fuqua have both said that part two is coming. there will be a subsequent movie. So all the people that didn't feel satisfied, y'all will get y'all feel of the mess. But I enjoy seeing the process. I love seeing that he was into manifestation and that he
Mm-hmm.
was into positive self-talk. I love
Mm-hmm.
seeing him in the booth, getting ready to do off the wall and being like, "You the greatest of all time," like talking himself up, right?
Yeah.
Because we think of somebody like him as like greatness is innate and he just doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
no, he willed himself kind of into it, right? Between the heat for Joseph, right, and wanting to just shut Joseph the f up, because I felt like
Mm-hmm.
that was a lot of it. He just innately wanted to be great. I enjoyed it. I thought it satisfied enough curiosity. You got to see enough of his personality, I felt like, to just get little insights.
Yeah, and you're right. And so it's so interesting that I mean, I thought that it was just, it felt really good to watch. It felt good to watch. It felt good to just get that side without it being so much drama. I love the actually that they didn't go in on Joseph, because if I'm being honest, Marlo, one of the things that I feel like we miss in the Black community is that type of guidance,
Yeah,
right? Like, when we think about all the fathers that have been in their lives, the Matthew Knowles, Tiger's dad, Richard Williams, there's somebody else I'm missing. Uh, just all of those kinds of figures.
yeah,
I feel like they did the best that they could with what they had, right? I feel like Joe did the best that he could. And if we really think about it, he went on to create three mega brands in one household, right? Mega brands. And I love how he was like, I think of this like, hey, I think that's Ebony. I think of this like, I think of this like how he was like, our family business is like Pepsi, like
yeah,
Coca-Cola, right? And if you think about it in terms of that, just the foresight that he had to get his family with all those children, to get them and make them and give them enough discipline to work. Yes, now he was a little hard,
yeah.
right? He might have been a little hard on Michael, but that's what he knew, right? So I love that they didn't make him abusive in the way. I mean, you got it that that wasn't Michael's style. He didn't like that style of discipline. But would we have Michael Jackson without it? Right? Would we have that level of greatness without it? What do you think,
We
Marlo?
definitely wouldn't have the level of self-examination. Like, I think one of the biggest gifts that this movie has given to me as a fan is all of the untold stories, all the stuff we never knew before this movie came out. um, and one of those things, like being able to reflect on some of his old interviews and him saying that the Billie Jean performance, after he performed, he critiqued it, right? So we see
Hmm.
him getting off stage and telling Barry Gordy, "I should have stayed on my toes longer." Like, boy,
Yes.
what you talking about, right? But that's a
Yes.
direct reflection of Joseph, because we see in the movie when he does the first performance, he's like, "We killed it, we were great." And I also love that he was a little smart mouth, stand up for himself. And
Hmm.
Joseph was like, "Oh, you think you did good?" Huh? He's like, "Yes, we did great, Joseph. We killed it."
Hmm. Yeah.
And I just think that that part, right? His dad telling him, "Keep doing it. You're not good enough," definitely fueled what we see in terms of greatness, right? Somebody that did the spins 500 times before he would stop, or somebody that would practice for 8 to 10 hours a day,
Hmm.
willing to sit in a makeup chair to go through these monster transformations
Hmm.
in so many of his music videos. I think that you do not get that drive for excellence without Joseph Jackson at all. No.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and then just having the goal to do it. It's like, I'm not scared of nobody. If my father is the tyrant,
Listen,
nobody else is gonna make me feel like I can't achieve or I can't go beyond. Um, as an artist, it was really inspiring. As a creative, I watched it, and I'm always thinking like, thinking about the person that I had in my life for a very short time who was very strict like that. Was my uncle. He was the one that was like, "You're gonna sing. You're gonna sing at church. You're gonna sing. You're gonna do this. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna play a sport, and you're gonna sing these songs." And he bought me a keyboard and all of the things. But I wasn't there long enough I wasn't at his house long enough for him to really have the time to really like Joe Jackson me. But as an adult and watching that movie, I
Yeah,
wish I had, because Karma J would be a very different, I think a very different artist. Like
right.
it took a long time to get to, the state, but just being inspired. All of it was just
It
very
was
inspiring. Just thinking I could work harder, I can go
absolutely,
harder, I can be more
absolutely.
creative. You're always in the middle of a process. Like you're always in the that's what it also taught me.
And you
Like,
can bet on yourself, and you can take risk, and you can make demands, right? The idea that the black artist, another funny moment was him, demanding to CBS he wants to be on MTV. And for
yes,
those of us who remember early MTV, before Yo MTV Raps MTV, there were no black artists. There was no Luther. There was no Prince. There was no Whitney, right? Even the great Whitney Houston that all the white people loved and absorbed. You Give Good Love, uh, Dance with Somebody. None of those videos were being played on MTV.
yeah,
And so for him to just have the gall to say like that's where I need to be if for my goal, and you need to figure it out, right? I made you a lot of money, and now you need to get me something that I want. And I think that there is a lot that we can glean from him, and from this, what we learned from him in this film and all these interviews and stuff that are popping up after all these years that we haven't seen. I think that betting and believing in yourself is probably my biggest takeaway, because that's throughout the whole film. And it does again start at Joseph telling them, it's winners and losers,
that's winners
right?
and losers.
Winners and losers. And where are you going to fall in the game of winners and losers? Bring
Yeah.
on part two.
Yeah, bring on part two. I mean, I know there was some question about Janet and why she wasn't involved and
Yeah.
all of that, but I even saw this as a part to continue that family legacy. I mean, they can absolutely use this to jumpstart Janet if they wanted to do, or not Jermaine or none of them,
Yeah.
but they could again make it, and that goes back to what Joseph said initially. Oh my God. Wow, really? That goes back to what Joseph said initially, that this family is a brand. This is a
Yeah.
big brand, not just, so I love that. And just thinking about, and I wish Deborah was here right on the show today, because just thinking about our families, another way to think about our families and
Yeah.
our legacy and how we leave our family and what we're putting into our children. Today we were talking about a mother who had a private jet, sent her child off in a private jet to prom. And I was just thinking, like, what do children learn with being like spoiled? I mean, like, what do children learn, as long as on the flip side you are, I don't know. I just feel like we have it. Sometimes I feel like we have it backwards, Marlo, where we want
Yeah.
to give kids things that we never had, and we, instead of like really thinking about what Joe was able to build and kind of like crafting our families after that, and like really thinking about our families as institutions. What do you think about that?
I think it's very interesting. And I think that looking at it from a training perspective, right? They were working so hard in hopes to get to what was on the other end, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just happened to be Motown and Barry Gordy, and then this tremendous legacy for this family. And I think that sometimes, because imagine, right? Joseph is they're born in the 60s, so Joseph is born during the Great Depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
Presumably. And so this man who grew up black, Jim Crow, all the things,
Mm-hmm.
was also a boxer, was also a performer himself, was able to see something that nobody else could see. I saw an interview today, and Michael was saying, all of the kids in the neighborhood would be laughing at us because we would be inside practicing, or we'd be in the yard practicing just day in and day out. And they would say, "Oh man, y'all ain't gonna be nothing. Y'all just wasting y'all time. I know y'all wish y'all had fun." And now look at them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Joseph was undeterred by what other people think. And when
Mm-hmm.
I think about the jet for the prom, that is to me specifically related to caring about what other people think. I want
Yeah.
people to talk about me. I want people to feel like I'm like just being so lavish with my kid,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, your kid getting a pilot's license before prom, right? And getting clocking those hours as a pilot to be able to fly themselves to prom. I think that there is, accomplishment in money, obviously. And if you can afford, or if you feel like that's an expense, or you've saved and that's something that you want to do, it's fine. But I think that we are, like the young kids say, losing the plot when it comes to earning things and hard work and what it feels like to develop the muscle of greatness. And I
Yeah.
think that that's something that people could take away, is like how to be great, how to will yourself. And it doesn't have to be in entertainment, right? It could be in anything, but how much time are you putting into it will equate to what you get out of it.
Yeah. And for those that are just joining us, welcome to Fly to Be Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm Tierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and today we are going rogue. We are definitely going to have this conversation about how how a woman sent her son to prom in a private jet. I think I'm going to save the topic for tomorrow, just because I just got back from the Power Her conference, which was a powerful conference. My computer stopped working this morning, and just all types of. I've just had so many technical difficulties, but I wanted to make sure that we got on here for you all, and I did not cancel today's show. I just wanted to be here. I missed you all so much. Hey, Jasmine, I see you, girl, in the comments, and just all of you. We missed you. We hope you are well. So we just decided to do, a current events kind of impromptu conversation. We were talking about Michael Jackson and his impact. And what's interesting is after all of these years, Michael Jackson has been gone for 20 years at this point, and still the number one film around the world. There's not been another biopic that has grossed or been able to do what Michael was able to do by day 3. By day 3
By
he had
day three.
it was like $300 million by day 3.
By day three.
So I just think it really says something about legacy, creating things that are
Timeless.
timeless and true to you, right? And I'm really thinking about the artists in the house. I'm thinking about the entrepreneurs who may be online looking at the different things that people are making and creating. And especially with AI, everybody sounds alike, everybody is doing the same things, they're prompted the same way. Tell me if I'm wrong, Marlo, and people in the chat. It's so hard to get honest feelings before people say, they go into saying it's not about Michael Jackson, it's about the legacy. It's about freedom. It's sounding like an AI prompt, right? Or a output, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like we've lost the art of like genuine authenticity. Everybody's status updates are these long ass
Bulleted
things
with
that
the
I
check
don't
marks.
read with the dashes and the
Yes,
emojis.
everything.
Um, I just everything looks and sounds like that. So I just want you all to be mindful that even though it's easier to lean on AI, I really do think people want what's real and authentic and inspiring. And I
Yeah,
think our stories, if we can go back to that even, our stories are really inspiring. Those are the game changers. Your story and how you choose to leverage it, I think, is as everything. What do you think about that, Marlo?
absolutely. And I think that, you know, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
you approach things from an authentic place, if you do put your heart into something, right? If you're not trying to just, oh, that's hot, I'm just going to do what's hot, I'm going to do what's
Mm-hmm.
expedient,
Mm-hmm.
then I think that you'll get the result that you're looking for. I think in terms of this film, right? $300 million. Michael is back on the Billboard charts
Mm-hmm.
in a heavy, heavy way. I
Mm-hmm.
was looking through, like I said, my YouTube algorithm, all my algorithms are Michael Jackson heavy right now because it's just so like he is dominate. He has taken over the algorithm that wasn't even a thing when he
That's
died.
crazy.
There was no
Right?
algorithm.
Everything is Michael Jackson. Every
Everything is
every
Michael
post is
Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Every platform is Michael Jackson. And I was looking, the Earth song has a 500,000,000 views. The Earth song, I didn't say Beat It, Billie Jean. The Earth song has more than a 500,000,000 views on YouTube.
Mm,
There is no other artist. Like, I feel like this film, we could put it to bed.
yeah.
Nobody passing out at your concert.
Yeah.
You not charting. Your first album is not charting like it's brand new. We could
Yeah.
put it to bed of who is what.
The
And Michael
greatest.
Jackson is in his own realm. Over
Yeah.
here, he's alone. Usher's not there. Beyonce's not there. I love Beyonce. I love Usher. I love Chris Brown. All the people. None of them are in his bubble. He got his own bubble, y'all. And we are seeing it. The dogs ain't in the Michael Jackson bubble. They're going to be in the outside bubble. It's a crazy animal day, but
It's an
it's been
edible day,
fun to
y'all.
watch for sure.
Yeah, I got cats. If you're just tuning in, I got cats since I got back from Power. I picked up new cats yesterday, Ebony and Ivory, because I'm black as hell, and of course I named my children. Let that go. This is Ebony. Come here, Ivory. Come here. Come here. This is Ebony. This is Ebony Sahara and Ivy Celine. I let people name them. Okay, 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 okay. I don't know. I've never ever been a cat. Okay, we're going back to the conversation. Just that's what's happening. There's cats crawling all over me. This is all new for me. Any cat moms or dads, pets, lovers in the chat, go ahead and send me your prayers, but also send me tips on what I need to do with like kittens. I have no idea. I got them for Lauren, but here we are raising them as a single cat mom. Um, so yeah, but we're just having a good time today, y'all. But absolutely, but I, it's so interesting that there's these comparisons to like Beyonce and I think that it goes to it does say something about Michael being the first to ever kind of have this like mentality as
Yeah,
an artist. Like I feel like Beyonce has it, but she has it for herself. Like she has
yeah.
a different, but it's the same,
It's the
right?
same.
It's the same
They're all his
soul.
kids. They
Yeah,
are
it's
Usher, Chris Brown, Beyonce. They all come from the school of Michael Jackson, who comes from the school of James Brown, but he built his
yes,
own school, right?
yes,
And I think that
yes,
it's there, but the global impact, and I think part of it is because when Michael was at his height, it was special to be a celebrity.
yeah,
No diss to all the girlies of the world, but anybody in this day and age, being a celebrity is not special anymore. And I think
yes,
that that was part of it, is that he had this mystique. He was this celebrity, and he was, making this fun music that you could dance to. He wasn't like Prince, because Prince was highly sexual. I've been thinking a lot about Michael and Prince because they were
yeah,
out at the same time. I was the same age.
yeah.
I could not be listening to Hot and Wet and walking around singing all the Prince songs because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't 7, 8, 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't age appropriate for me. Even thinking about When Doves Cry, I used to love that song, but there was something in the way the adults would react whenever we get to that moaning part at the end of When Doves Cry, right? They would, they get really tense, right? The adults didn't want to hear little kids singing Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye, but
Yeah.
anything that Michael put out, you could sing it at the top of your lungs, you could dance to it, and there was rarely an issue, if any. And so I think just in the context of that, right,
Mm-hmm.
he was just unafraid to be in his own little Michael Jackson bubble, and he
Mm-hmm.
still is, and it's untouched. His impact is crazy, having all of these streams, having songs. Thriller is back in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100s.
Yeah.
It will never see it. We'll never see this again. This level of
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah. I think there's so many things that can be learned. I remember we all went and seen it. Like I said, in Miami, I got to see the movie with Dr. Boyce and some other queens that were also on the trip with us, and we all were inspired in our own way. I remember like right after Dr. Boyce saying like, "How can I do this, but like do it for, do it in my way for finance, right?" So I think we all left the theater as an artist. Of course, I left thinking just making sure that, again, and I'm gonna say this again, just making sure you stay true to that what's in you. I feel like that's the thing that makes the difference. If Michael didn't move on, he was like, no, 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 I want to do videos that feel like movies.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody was doing that, right? Nobody was doing Remember the Time
And
and
he
like
made other
Thriller.
artists mad with that. Other artists were
Yeah,
like, "What you mean? I didn't put my heart and soul into this album. I gotta go on tour and I gotta make mini movies. No, I'm not gonna do it." But he
yeah,
changed the game and made that a complete. He made the music video a complete necessity.
yeah, 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 yes. And so I feel like there is, though, Marlo, would you say, although we can never get another Michael Jackson again, there is something sweet lying in the authenticity and people's people's willingness to bet on themselves. Like you said, bet on themselves, bet on their ideas. And I think that just goes back to what we're talking about today, right? We're talking about betting on ourselves. I just seen Anonymous coming here like, what's happening? Y'all, we are not talking about a prom on a private jet today. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow. We're talking about Michael Jackson. We just decided to just do current events today because coming back from Power, it's been a little crazy, and none of my technology is working. So for the people in the room, I can't run videos. I can't do none of that.
Can't do
So
nothing.
today we just talking.
We just freewheeling it.
We
Y'all
just
are privy
freestyling.
to me
So
and
even
Sierra's
if you
conversation, phone
Yeah,
conversation.
so even if we're just being inspired by Michael Jackson today and his legacy and the movie and kind of what it made us feel in our soul, but also if you have seen something interesting, I'm scared to even say this, especially to the people in the chat, but if you've seen something interesting that you want to talk about, we're reading, and just shout it out so that we can kind of start a conversation. But Marlo wanted to talk about Michael Jackson today, and we may talk about it from a financial standpoint later on, but today we just decided to talk about impact and how you kind of keep that same, right? There'll never be another Michael Jackson, but there will be, if I think if you pour enough into it, people will be saying that about you. There'll never be another Miss Black Hollywood, Carmen J. Tierra Williams, another Marlo Layson.
Yeah.
If you do it right, right,
If
Marlo,
you,
how do you
yeah.
do it right? Like how do you do your journey right?
You stay true to who you are. Like, you have to know who you are, right? You have to be okay with who I am is not who they are, and just move in your own lane. And I think that that's the hardest part. I think the hardest part of being authentic is not looking at the runner to your left or the runner to your right and trying to change your form to match theirs. Like, you just got
Mm,
to run your race. You got to be in it for you. You got to connect with the folks that you connect with, and when you do, everything else will fall into place. And I think that it's this idea of like constantly changing and transforming and becoming this person and becoming that person. Just stay centered and grounded in who you are, and you'll reap the benefits of that. Because that morning that you wake up and you don't want to be that person that you created anymore, that's when everything gonna fall apart for you. Everything is gonna fall apart once you decide that you don't want to be in this box that you created for yourself to get to whatever level or platform you're trying to get to. So I think being true to you and knowing who you are is going to be always standing the test of time.
yeah, I agree. And don't be afraid. I meet a lot of people who are afraid to put things out because they're scared of the way it looks, or they have to wait until it's perfect, or how they articulated something, or what they said, and if they said it right, or if they don't like the way they look on camera. That was one of the things that I met a lot of women at Pow Her, and just I meet women at ABC, the people in the chat. When I have consultations, people generally just be like, well, I mean, I don't want to, I won't say the right things. But I think that I don't think any of that matters. I think that really the messenger, as long as the message is true and it's authentic, the messenger will be exalted no matter what, right? Like it, we will still, people will still feel it. Think about how many unpolished people that you follow that you just like because you like their vibe, right? Um, when I think about Eric Thomas, you know, how in the beginning, that's what he used to say. He used to be like, I don't have it all together, but
Yeah.
I got this word. And so I just keep thinking about that. I'm trying to figure out how to just make sure that we're getting that. We are talking about Michael Jackson today, and we will talk about Prom on a private jet. As a matter of fact, I'll save it for tomorrow, or later this week. But even talking about the things that we are now glorifying as a community, right? Where people are spending 50, 70, $100,000 to outdo and be bigger and better. And I don't know if that energy is, I don't know if that's the right energy. If we're
Yeah.
gonna outdo and be bigger and better, I think it should be in education, you know, in the things that matter. What do you say, Marlo?
Yeah, I think absolutely. The social media, I feel like, has set that up though. Oh, they want to go outside. No, the show is unhinged, y'all. I'm sorry. It just is what it is today. The dogs are whining. I gotta let them out because, like, if I don't let them outside, then what? What am I gonna do, y'all? I'll be right back.
All right. So, y'all, if you are just joining us, as you can see, Fly Nubian Money is rogue today. I got new cats. Y'all, I got cats. I got kittens. They're sitting in my lap right now. They're just quietly laying in my lap. I think that's the difference between dogs and cats.
Yes.
You know, they're just chilling. They're like, Mom, I want to lay in your lap.
No,
So that's cool. But it's a real struggle today. What were you
it
about to
is a
say?
struggle.
So let me ask the question again.
Yeah.
What do you think? No, what we were talking about, what do you think? So I was saying that education, I think that sometimes we as a community get caught up in the wrong things, right? Where we should be really going hard for, you know, where it matters. I feel like we miss the mark, and the things that are glorified are really poisonous to our pockets, poisonous to our habits. You know, what do you think about that?
I think it's so true, and I think that part of it is like we as like Black Americans, right? Not Jamaicans or other people, but people who generationally have been Black in the United States of America from Jim Crow and slavery and all of that stuff. I think that we haven't we don't have a time honored tradition, right? We don't have a bar mitzvah, we don't have a bat mitzvah, we don't have a quinceanera, we don't have those things. We never developed those things. We aren't really rooted in whatever those coming of age traditions are for Africans or Caribbeans or Afro Latinos or whoever. And so I think that in trying to find who we are,
Mm,
being, you know, audacious and showy has always been part of that. And I think that this is just an extension of that. And I think social media has taken it to a level where it is just exploded, because now, you know, you could be the envy of perfect strangers, never mind the people on your block, never mind your family members, but you could be
mm,
the envy of, you know, 1,000 people from a state that you never saw before. And I think
mm,
that that is something for people who feel like they're unseen, or people who want to be seen. Maybe somebody who is, you know, recapturing a lost childhood, right? Like
mm-hmm,
back to the Michael Jackson theme, somebody that's recapturing something. Maybe you were pregnant when it was time for you to go to prom, or maybe you dropped out of school and you never went to prom, or maybe you just weren't in the social circle so you didn't go, or your family could afford it. Whatever the case may be, I think there's a lot of stuff at play. And one of the main things is we don't have a cultural passing of the torch, a cultural welcome to womanhood, welcome to manhood. So we, you know, latch on to other things that can we can celebrate, but through the advent of social media, that's just the level of show offness has just catapulted, and it's
yeah.
just grown to a way where I, you know, I can't wait to see what's next for people.
Yeah, I mean, it went from, I know for my personal prom, I did have a rental car. Well, actually, no, I didn't have a rental car. My mom had a brand new rodeo, like a truck.
Hmm.
And so I was able to drive the rodeo to prom. Um, and then my senior year, I think I got a rental car, but that was it. Like, that was
Yeah.
it. All the homegirls, we did get a hotel room, but all the homegirls was there. It wasn't like, what's up, it wasn't like a romantic thing. And that was it. That was pretty much the night, right? We got
Yeah.
dressed up, we looked really cute, like 90s fine, kind of cute, and then we
Yeah.
just kept it moving, right? It wasn't like all the lashes, it wasn't all the, I mean, no shade
I
to
didn't even
lashes
wear
and all of
makeup.
that. We didn't even, right, it was like a little dab of makeup. I
Little,
think
yeah.
they put a little mascara on. I was like, they did my eye, like my eyebrows were actually like waxed. I said,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. I
I
think
didn't
that's about
know.
it. I
And
think that was about it.
that was it, right?
And
And
dinner,
we
we went to
went,
dinner. My dress was rented for prom. Like my junior, me and my whole crew, like we rented our dresses because in New Orleans, Mardi Gras balls are a thing. So there's
right.
places where you can just rent a nice beaded gown.
Yep.
And me and my homegirls all went. We were semi dressed alike because that was the style at the time. This particular style of dress. We rented a car. We went out to eat, and I want to say we went like on the lakefront and like popped the trunks of all the rental cars open and we're playing music. It just really wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't like that, and
Yeah.
we didn't care about that. We weren't trying to show one another up. It was mostly
Yeah.
in the dress. Um, Everybody's hair was basically the same. Probably had a little French twist with little curls. Like it, I don't know. I don't understand this prom phenomenon, and I feel bad for Jade because she ain't gonna understand it either. Like, we,
Yeah. And Lauren might understand it cheap. Like it's
yeah,
not
no,
gonna
I mean,
be
look, she might get dropped off in a Porsche. We might get a Porsche through Turo, and she might get dropped off in a Porsche or something like that. Her birthday will line up with her graduation and her prom, so we're gonna have a nice little situation. But she ain't flying there. That's for sure.
you ain't cause like right, right, right.
She ain't baby.
I
She's
wanna know
not baby landing on the Superdome. Okay, it's not. It's not.
yes. Um, I want to know in the chat, how was your prom? Like, did what did y'all have? Did y'all have a rental? Did y'all, what was your prom night like? I'm interested. I keep saying I don't want to have this conversation, but obviously we're having it. But I think it is interesting to just consider like women, Americans are doing bad right now, right? Like I saw in terms of obviously not all Americans are doing bad, but for the most part people are really struggling. And what it feels like a lot of the time is these black women are maybe overcompensating, single, because I don't always see black fathers at these send-offs. It feels like a single mother kind of sometimes potentially overcompensating, because I feel like if there was a man in the house, they'd be like, "This nigga don't need to be in no,
This
he
ain't
don't need
practical.
no jet." Like, we're not doing that.
And then I saw Bun B. Listen, y'all, Bun B got money. He is selling vegan burgers and he's still, making some dollars off of his rap music career. And he's was a professor. I don't know if he's still a professor. I saw Bun B pull up in a vehicle that he owns, dressed as a chauffeur to chauffeur his granddaughter to prom.
Oh,
I mean,
but
like,
that's kind of legendary to have your grandfather be Bun B.
it is
First of
legendary
all,
to have your grandfather be Bumby, but I think it's legendary to have any grandpa, right? Clean
that's
up the
true.
car. Your granddaddy got that nice old Cadillac, that nice Escalade truck, whatever he got. Clean it up real nice and make it a family moment, right? But my point is that Bun B could afford to
Yeah,
stunt. He
yeah,
could afford to do this for his granddaughter because presumably he didn't do it for his kids, right? He was probably a young father, being UGK at the time,
yeah,
so he wasn't in the capacity to probably do this for his kids, or he was out earning money so he couldn't be
yeah,
there.
yeah,
But the fact that they made it, and they took pictures and it was a thing, and obviously he posted the video. It wasn't shaky video from granny's cheap cell phone.
yeah.
But it's just the idea of having that, keeping that tradition, I think, kind of simple, and keeping
Yeah.
that tradition kind of intimate, and it's, a passing of the torch. But to each his own. You want to fly your kid and fly them on in, but I'm just saying, like, you I look at it in contrast. Random lady I never heard of sending her son to the prom in a private jet versus international rapper and vegan burger maker.
Entrepreneur,
Right.
maker.
Like, pulling up, right, and making it a moment. So I think that there is something off in our thinking. There is something off in our priorities sometime as a community, and it definitely is linked. Joe ain't here for me to corroborate this fact, but it's probably definitely linked to the amount of stress that we're always under, the amount of performance that we always are finding ourselves having to do, the amount of personality suppression that we sometimes have to do to be able to fit into some of these spaces.
Yeah. And you want to look like you got it for whatever reason. Like you said something, there's a sense of competition. Um, you know, and I'm not sure. Kanye West. I always think about Kanye West as like all falls down kind of song, and
Hmm.
us like where that mentality comes from, that we have to keep up with the Jones, we got to keep up with each other. And I love what you said about the envy of strangers. Right, there was something about that felt poetic to me in a sense where too often I think we're looking online and looking and seeing what people are doing and being like, man, I can't do that. So you're going and, people are working 4 or 5 jobs just to be able to do something, to overcompensate, really. When I think somebody just said something about fuel costs, and because I wonder how much fuel costs for a
Jet
private jet for
fuel,
them to,
please,
yeah,
please,
like
jet fuel.
gas
You
is expensive.
I was about to say, that jet fuel is expensive if you look at the price of an airline ticket now. Like,
Yes.
the cost of an airline ticket has jet fuel in the cost. And so if you look at the cost, what it costs to fly country to, like, coast to coast, it certainly is a pricey endeavor. So I can only imagine a private jet, like, but I'm sure he had fun. But then what does that say also when I'm thinking about kids, right? Because we had this conversation last year about the young lady, and we found out that the mom had her as a teenager or whatever, and the girl really didn't even want the big old lavish prom. I always think, you pull up, all your friends pulling up in their parents' nice cars, or maybe the parent rented a car, or whatever the case may be. You got a sprinter van for the little friend group. You pull up on a jet. What does that establish amongst peers,
Yeah.
right? What is that doing for your child socially,
Yeah.
right? Other than alienating him from the his peer group. So I think some of it, parents, I know parents that plan this stuff years in advance. I've met people, my daughter's a freshman, I've run into parents who are talking about prom already. I ain't thinking about it. And so I guess it's a real thing.
It is a real thing. Speaking of jet fuel, did you see that yeah, Anonymous, that Spirit is overnight. Spirit is
Yes.
gone.
No more
It's so
Spirit.
hard for me to say goodbye.
Listen, bye bye Spirit. Spirit said, y'all drag for us one last too many times. We gone. We out of here. But also, that's, I don't know, y'all. We really playing Monopoly right now.
Yeah, it's a
We
sign of the times for sure.
Spirit being out of the game does not mean that airline tickets are getting cheaper, y'all. It is getting back to be a luxury to fly.
Yes.
Like it was back when there were only two or three or four airlines, and that's what we going back to. You lose Spirit, Lord, I gotta check the temperature of Southwest, see what's going on at Southwest.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody said 15,000 jobs gone. And what I didn't know, people call Spirit soul plane and whatever, but I never had any issues with Spirit at all. I
Never.
love that there was always a direct flight, as opposed to like flying Southwest where you always had to stop. You always got to either stop in Arizona or Atlanta, one of their hubs,
Yeah.
Minnesota, wherever. But but appreciated, just being able to have that. So 30 years, they said, and no accidents,
No,
no.
nothing. No incidents like the major airline, the other major airlines, because they were a major air carrier. No incidences like them. People found them to be affordable. People were getting to their destinations, even though people would crack jokes. But guess what? I've been on a tuna can flying Delta before. On a short hop from New Orleans to Memphis, it definitely was a tuna can, and we hit turbulence, and I thought I wasn't gonna make it. So every airline has their jank legs, guys. There is no perfection because everybody trying to make money. Everybody trying to cut corners.
I just do we I don't know. I think we're gonna touch the Voting Act later this
The
week,
shame
but
of my life. The
do you
shame. The
give
shame
it
of
to
my
me?
life.
Give it to
The
me.
shame.
What are you thinking?
I would just say this. I would encourage y'all to go and look up my governor's, or I should say, not my governor, the governor of Louisiana's Facebook page to see how the people of Louisiana do not care. No F's are found in the comment section in terms of how they feel about him. But he is a consequence of a 31% vote, right? 31% of the people in the state of Louisiana voted for Jeff Landry to be governor. And now
Mm,
that 31% of Louisiana voters has a national implication. And that is why I talk about the importance of voting, y'all. That is why this man did not win by a landslide, right? I covered his election. He won 31% of the vote. One third plus five people voted for this man to be the governor of Louisiana. And he is making decisions that now impact a constitutional amendment, right? A part of the U.S. Constitution is in McStruggleville because Bobby Boucher of Louisiana decided to do a thing, right? And he's not just doing that; he also uh, signed a bill to cut a duly elected office uh, that a black man who had been formerly wrongfully convicted won this past November. So it's a lot going on in Louisiana, and it is having national implications. And I would apologize, but I'm not sorry because people don't take this stuff seriously. People do not take this seriously, and people would never have thought that the governor of Louisiana, who was elected on a day when Southern and Grambling and LSU all had games out of town, and people
mm,
went to those games and didn't early vote, y'all would
mm.
think that that would now be affecting national voting rights, but here we are. So yeah,
Yeah, I
good luck.
want to
Good
know.
luck voting, and good luck with gerrymandering. And he actually struck congressional seats off the ballot. So Mike Johnson, as horrible as he is, and Steve Scalise, as terrible as he is, those people's seats are ultimately protected for now because it doesn't count because of the congressional maps, because he's going to try to hurry up and get in August, redraw the congressional maps, and make another mess. That's just where we at, y'all. We got to pay attention. If he's doing it here, it's going to move to Texas. It's going to go to Mississippi. They going to do foolery in Florida and West Virginia and Tennessee and Georgia. All of these southern states are going to have some level of tomfoolery happen between now and November. So, but
Well,
y'all don't like to vote or whatever. Y'all want black tangibles and stuff. So there you go. There's
well,
your black tangible. No voting access.
no voting access. What's interesting is that for whatever reason, there's been this narrative that it doesn't matter if we vote or not. And obviously that could be, you know, no further from the truth, right? But I want to say this. I do believe that Kamala won, right? I believe that Kamala won the election. I'm gonna just say this. Like, I know that because we're talking about the question is if they can use AI, and this is just my theory, if they can use AI and use technology to now, um, like rig things and have control over, or try to throw the votes out altogether, right? With little games and all of these things, like I can understand why some people would say, and Marlo, you can tell me what you think, voting across, whether it's local, whether it's whatever, whatever you're voting for, it doesn't matter. What would you say to that?
That it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
I think
they say if at this point, like, cause I believe that Kamala won, and I believe it was
yeah,
rigged, right? Like, I kind of believe, now that I think about it, I probably believe that Hillary won too,
yeah.
but Elon is very good with computers, right?
I mean,
So like,
look, he said it. The president
yeah,
told us.
yeah.
Elon's good with the
So
computers, like he literally said it.
yeah, so like, we won. It's even now he's like, he's not worried. He said something about not being worried about midterms because he kept saying we have the votes. We have the votes. Like, that's weird to me, right? So as a black person thinking about local or national or whatever, right? It feels like maybe there's being a system set up, right? That kind of like, I don't know. Tell me what you think. This is just my theory.
Yeah, I mean, because look, if you don't believe, if you, the electoral college is a joke, right? So take
Yeah.
the federal election out of it. Let's just put the federal election to the side. Your local elections, your state elections, the elections that send people to Congress, those elections are important. Those elections matter. That's how schools get money. That's how roads get fixed. That's how, quality of life things are supposed to happen when we pay attention to who we elect to these offices. And I think the biggest problem is people hear, oh, the electoral college, we don't even select the president. It gets selected like this. And that is true. So opt out of that race, right? Because up until, you know, this current president, the president is really a figurehead. Who is really important are the congressmen, right? So
Yeah.
Congress, they have ceded their power. They don't even have no power. They're not even trying to pretend that they have power. If you watch a budget hearing, they're not even getting budgets from his departments like they're supposed to be getting them submitted. So take them out of the equation. Who runs your city? Who's on your city council? Who's on your school board? Who, that stuff is important. That stuff has a real life implication, right? Back to my state, they rejected a measure to create a minimum wage, a state mandated minimum wage that would start at $10, y'all, and then it would go up to $12 within 10 years or something like that. But tomorrow they will consider a bill to give themselves a $30,000 a year raise. Tomorrow, that's what the Louisiana legislature will be deciding. Should we as legislators and the governor get a raise? But they hands down said, we're never going to mandate your employer to pay you $10 an hour. That is important. That is
Mm-hmm.
what gets decided at the local and state level. So I'm going to always say, vote. Like, all politics is local. Vote in your local election. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what party you support. Vote in your local election, because that is the thing that matters the most. Vote for congressional representation. Understand who your senator is, who your state rep is, who your congressional rep is. Pay attention to that stuff. The presidency, I don't care about the presidency. And I wish
Mm-hmm.
we could like separate voting
Mm-hmm.
in a way that made sense, where pay attention to what's going on locally, and then the other things will work themselves out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I got it. I got you. I got you. I was going to say something about, using AI. So one of the things that we've been doing locally is me and my girlfriends will have like a party. We'll have a party. We'll use AI to literally go through every single measure. We'll go through every single thing, every prop, all the things, and just kind of understand what is the pros and cons of this. What is this for? Because there's a lot of language in there that'll say one thing, but then, it'll be for this, and they'll just talk about it being like, here's what it'll do for the community. But there's like there's somewhere in the underbelly where there might be a little something shady. Somehow it affects you negatively. So we started to, during elections, just make sure that we get together and we talk through what that means for us and collectively decide what we're going to vote on. And so that's what we do.
Love that.
I cannot believe we made it through 54 minutes, y'all. Like, I
We
can't
did
believe
it.
it, because let me tell you, when I pressed go live, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Like I said, we had some issues, some technical issues today, so we just decided to freestyle it
Hard
and have
pivot.
a, huh?
That's a producer right there. That's a hard pivot.
Yeah, baby. I was like, all right, well, this is what we about to do. You just so happen to have two producers and two journalists at heart, two filmmakers, two storytellers. So it worked out. It worked out, um, but yeah. So I just wanted to I want to get into our final thoughts because and if we're going back to kind of like Michael and greatness, or if you want to, talk about private jets and children, you got that, whatever it is. But what are your final thoughts for today, and how can people get in touch with you?
So my final thought is um, all prepare for excellence. Like excellence is not accidental. If you want to be excellent, you don't have to be excellent on a global scale, but if you want to be the best in your city, in your state, in the nation, in your region, whatever, it doesn't happen by accident. You got to practice. You got to work hard. You got to study. You got to study people's failures and people's successes and
Mm-hmm.
figure out, take what you can, take what you need from those experiences and just push forward and hopefully do the least amount of harm to other people you can on the way to the top. Parents, I know it's hard out here. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. That baby does not want a private jet to go to prom. I promise you. If you have a conversation with them and you ask them what they want, I don't know any teenagers that would say a private jet, but that must be a household of teenagers that I never met before. It's hard being a parent. Bless you all. If you have seniors that are graduating, congratulations. If you have freshmen that are ascending through the ranks of high school, just put your seatbelt on because it get more expensive year after year after year. And I love y'all. And if you're looking for me, oh, she don't have the lower third up, but you go ahead and follow me on Instagram as I approach the 10th anniversary of my memoir. It's called Stranger Than Fiction. It's actually the link is in the bio on my Instagram page. So if you go follow me, you can click that link. You can buy the book. You can peruse it. You can read the introduction all on my distributor's website. Just follow me, y'all. I'm going to be exploring the themes in that book, and I'm going to be reflecting since it's 10 years. I wrote this book right before my 40th birthday. Now I will be 49 this year. So I will be reflecting on the book, the themes in it, the things that I've gone through, and what I've learned since. And I will be chronicling that upon the Instagram. So you'll have to follow me there in order to get these little nuggets that Tiara and I just run it about for 2 hours after we talk for an hour. Then we talk for 2 hours, and y'all will get it on Instagram.
All right. And make sure that y'all check out Stranger Than Fiction. It was such a good book. I happened to be probably on a Spirit flight going from one coast to another, and I ordered it and I was like, I'm gonna read it. But I really read it, and it was a page turner. I really enjoyed it. I've been trying to get Marlo ever since to make it into a series or a movie. I think we pitched it to, you know, uh a network or two. Like we've it's really just I can't wait to produce that as a filmmaker, as a I can't wait. So I just say that make sure that you get Stranger Than Fiction. My final thought is this. Even though it feels like everything that we talked about was super random, but I feel like it's all connected in a way. I feel like, the way that we show up for ourselves, the way we show up, I would just say make sure that we are kind of always checking in with ourselves. Like the mother that got her son a private jet, I feel like there's something in her, right? Somebody who goes and spends that much money, or somebody who doesn't show up at the voting polls, or somebody that doesn't, I feel like that. I feel like as a community we just need some healing. We need some healing. And so that can start with us just being a little bit more intentional about how we think and how we use, how our mindsets, and how we spend our time, how we show up. If we're online comparing ourselves constantly to other people, when we can really get in the game and get out of off the sidelines just watching, and really just start to really be active in our lives in a real way, right? And I guess that goes back to excellence. It goes back to Michael. I just believe that we are here for a reason. We are supposed to have a legacy, not necessarily like Michael, but be like Mike in a way of like studying and excellence. Like you said, be like Mike. And so I was very inspired by the movie. It really, really made me think about being more excellent and wanting to impact you all more, wanting to have more of a legacy. Um, yeah, that's it. So, my name is Tierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood. I got new babies. This is Ebony and Ivory, who are sitting in my lap. I have never been a pet mom before, ever in my life. So here we are. And maybe not since I was little, but they are here, and I got them yesterday. So there's that. If you want to know more about me or want to know more about storytelling, I'm at Miss Black Hollywood across all major platforms. That's MSBLACK Hollywood, and that's where I'll be. I'm recovering from the Pow Her conference, and it was phenomenal. If you were in the room virtually or in the room in real life, it was such an honor to work with you, to to speak to you, to coach you, and so it was fire. I know you can go to blackpower.com and get the recording virtually. So go over, and if you want to learn some things from going to solopreneur to CEO, I really would advise you to. There were so many great things. So many things. Even I came back thinking about like how I've been running my company and how I can better run my company and service my clients, and how better I can help you all and serve you all as a producer. And so I'm gonna do that. Anyway, it's time for us to get on out of here, girl. We actually overtime. I love y'all in a real way. Thank you for sticking with us through this hour. I know it was a little crazy, and the
Yeah.
producer in me is like, "Oh my god!" But in real life, we're just here to serve, and we want we hope that you were satisfied, or we got you thinking one way or another. Y'all go out, be great. Again, study, love on yourself, love on your people. Don't go get private jets. We love you. We will see you tomorrow. And tomorrow I have my life together. I'm gonna go get a charger right now. I love you, love you, love you.